Kei aku nui, kei aku rahi, puta noa I te motu, whakapiri mai anora ki tā tātou wānanga I tēnei ata, ki runga I tō tātou marae, e takatoa kenei, tēnā koutou katoa. The coalition government has made a lot of noise about being tough on crime and strong on law and order. Hoi anora, heha koia te whakatinanatanga o tā rātou e hāmama mai nei. But what does that look like when rhetoric meets reality? Leigh-Marama MacLachlan went to see what's happening on the front line with perhaps one of Aotearoa's most recognisable police officers, former All Black Glen Osborne.
Deep in the Waitotara Valley, we've spotted a native Osborne in his natural habitat.
Right, X, we'll take your dogs and we'll head over to that point over there and we'll check out that whole face there, eh? Get the dogs winding. Okay, come on. I remember growing up the Waitotara Valley. Te tai o rūrua o Waitotara, ne? I know my life has changed a little bit since then.
These days, when Glen's not out catching pigs, he's catching criminals. In the tiny Taranaki town of Waverley, population 800.
Kia ora people, how are we?
You like a pie, like usual?
I don't have pies, you stirrer.
And it's a dream come true.
At the age of 23, when I was in Auckland, I really wanted to be a police officer then. And I just started to apply when I kind of made a name for myself in rugby, and then not long after that I made the All Blacks, and then rugby went professional and the only thing I could do was play rugby. So I put that on hold, and then when I was about 44, I said to my wife, I said, Kylie, babe, I want to have a go for the police again. And she kind of a little bit laughed, but not loud. And she goes, aren't you a little bit old? I said, well, so long as I can keep up with the fitness.
Age aside, it should come as no surprise that the former All Black smashed the fitness tests. Now he's the sole cop in town.
Kia ora, Bob.
Kia ora.
Nā mahara mai, nā mahara mai. Ko tēnei tōku ware, eh?
Kārawi. Ko koe anaki?
Ai, ko tahi anaki, because it's just me.
Oh, cool. What area do you look after in terms of your policing?
From about this point over here, just before Pātia, I'll come right up around here, all this area right up around to this top here, and all the way back down around here and back down to there. I go as far as Pakaraka, Maxwell, to as far as halfway between Waverley and Pātia.
Wee, that's a big patch just for you.
Well, there's lots of pig hunting and deer hunting in there too, Cass. This is my EBA room. This is where we do all the breath testing for alcohol. There has been a few in Waverley, but when I first got here, there were lots. But man, there's a few people got a good growling. I have the guitar just in case I want to rip out a couple of waiata.
So you can lighten the mood?
Well, I lighten the mood. I think I'm Elvis Presley, but I certainly can't sing like him.
But the job has some serious pressures and low points. Family harm and meth are big problems, and so are burnouts. A young man recently died after crashing as he fled.
It's disappointing because it's wrong. The children crashing, passing away, and celebrating by doing further burnouts is wrong. Policing's not all about arresting people or growling people. It's about educating. Even when I have to arrest somebody, I try and educate them. Man, this is wrong, brother. Man, you could do better than this. Change your life. You don't want to be stuck in prison. Change your mindset. Change this community for the better.
Working in this community is meaningful mahi for Glen, who grew up just down the line.
The school is pretty much the same, but yeah, so we every lunchtime just sit down here and have our lunch.
Yeah.
Ever since I've been young, I've always had a role model, especially wanted to be like my dad. If I had half of his mana, I'll be happy. If I had a quarter of his mana, I'll be happy. There's a few families in Waverley that play up a little bit, I suppose. And that's probably a nice way of saying it. And I look at their family and I look at the kids in that environment, and to me, they just got no chance. Just my heart goes out to them because they got no role model. They got no leaders teaching what's right and wrong. That's a hard thing to deal with. I keep thinking that same old thing. How do I help them? How do I change their mindset? Do I just keep arresting? Do I try and talk to them? And I communicate with them, but I just don't see the change. And I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm doing this all wrong. What else can I do? How else can I achieve this one? And I still battle that today. And I'm sure many other police battle that every day.
What would you say is the hardest part of your job?
You know, I've been in the police now for 8 years, and people said it would be difficult dealing with family, but it's not. Kia ora, cousin. Kia ora, Dizzy. Hey, you cousin. Oh, boy. If I'm dealing with a niece, if I'm dealing with a nephew, all I have to do is say, Neff, get in the car. He might be arguing with all the police, calling them all the names in the world. They could be in the cells, they could be anywhere. If I walk in there and I see them and it's sorted.
We hear a lot in the media about an increase in crime over the past couple of years. Is that something you're seeing on the front line?
I believe these days the crime has been reported more simply because we have the gadgets in front of us to call police.
We hear this government talk a lot about law and order and toughening up on crime. Is that pressure that you feel in your mahi?
Yes, I do. I mean, the government and people are always pushing for harder penalties. But I think we need to focus more on the families themselves.
The camaraderie with police is clear.
It's so amazing how fast cops can be when there's a camera around.
Despite them being in the headlines, the coalition government forcing police to cut costs, refusing to foot pay rises, while also pushing them to toughen up on crime.
I do feel valued. Sometimes there's a little bit of, oh man, did they really give a shit about us? A lot of those things do weigh on the force, and they do weigh on specific persons within the police. I don't worry about it. I'm not that sort of person. I kind of relate to that person who goes to the marae and goes and cuts the meat up around the back in the kitchen. I don't go to the pai. I just want to talk about quickly about some of the youth in Waverley. Have you been dealing with the ones that I have?
Being a solo cop in Waverley, is that safe?
That question is always goes through my mind, simply because of that distance between the next help that comes from Wanganui. I know that in Wanganui, they never go to family harm situations by themselves, but I have to deal with that in Waverley by myself all the time. I know a lot of people don't like the New Zealand police, but without us, everything would be wrong. It'd be corrupt. It won't be working.
Now he's living the quiet life with his wife Kylie at a rural property in Whanganui.
Let dogs off for a run, man. Get up and down. Yeah, people always ask, do I miss the Auckland? Do I miss the hustle bustle? Do I miss the All Blacks? I do, and I don't.
It was hard because in that environment, I was I don't know, there weren't very many Māori in that environment at the time. It was lonely. 90% of our life then was me and the kids. Because if it wasn't rugby, it was speaking engagements.
There were some pressure point times there, Mum.
Yeah.
There were some pressure points, and 18 years ago, when the girls were little, Glen quit drinking.
Firstly, I'd like to apologise for all the shit I've done to you, Mum. No, I did it better than that. Okay. No, I think, yeah, I suppose we've had our hard times and we've had our good times. We can't change what's happened in the past. But 29 years married to me, shit. There's some mean feat. It is some mean feat. Sometimes I'd go hunting and not come back in time. Sometimes every now and then a day late or something. But she's always there. I don't know why, but shit. Yeah, grateful, very grateful, Mum. Very grateful. Get a pash every now and then too.
Still a country boy at heart.
All these little ones, they're only 20, 30 pounders.
For Glen, it's all about pashing, pig hunting and policing.
I love the police, mate. I love getting up in the mornings. I love getting in my own police car here at home and going direct to work. You can't beat it, mate. Being a role model for our rangatahi is what I always want, and I will continue until I can't.
You used to play for the All Blacks?
A long time ago, son. A long time ago. Now I'm an old koro, eh?
Well, yeah, wrong about old.
Yeah. Oh, get out of here. I'll see you fellas later, eh? I want to solve every problem in the police, but I don't know how. And I don't really know if many others know how. But we have to try and find a solution for it, especially to help our tamari.
Well, he's the perfect person to have in that community. And Glen, brother, we need more like you. You could probably say this every week at the moment, but it's been a tense time in politics. While those here at home fought to retain Māori input into decisions about Māori lives and to protect the mana of our taonga, overseas the mana wave was making a big splash. Paul Goldsmith is the Minister for Arts, Culture, Heritage, Justice, State-Owned Enterprises and Treaty Negotiations. One News obtained a document showing he ordered officials to remove the name Aotearoa and all Reo Māori salutations from an invite to an Australian MP to experience a Matariki celebration.
Look at our coalition agreement. It says unless there's been a referendum changing the name of our country, the name is New Zealand.
Ngāpuhi marched to Parliament to protest plans to remove illegal powers that prioritise placing Māori children within their iwi.
827 mokopuna. Stop your attack on us, Ngāpuhi iwi Māori.
Meanwhile, the Butcher's mana wave helped to propel his waka to gold.
It is the Butcher. Oh my goodness, he's beaten the 3 times world champion. And Will Clark get round for the silver. He does. It is Hege in bronze medal position. The Butcher takes gold.
And Lisa Carrington continued her winning ways.
Done it again. Lisa Carrington, the Queen. More gold. It is her 6th gold. But Aliti Olskin, Olivia Brett and Tara Vaughn in that boat too.
Hei nora e tiwi, kei ko ne ngā manu hiri o rangatira o Marae. Mai, ko hoki mai anō rāua, Claudia Hauiti, Shane Tapau, tēnā kōrua, hoki mai anō ki a Marae. Great to see you two both. Just before we dive into a bit on the Olympics and the Marae kura, Lisa Carrington, and of course a lot of politics going on, Kahurangi June o Kahukura Mariu, katahia no ia kāhinga. One of our matriarchs, June o Kahukura Mariu, has passed away. So many achievements in the sporting arena amongst her whānau and her iwi, the community out at West Auckland. Claudette, how o maharatanga ki aia?
So I worked with her when she was with the Māori Women's Welfare League as the chairperson, all the way through to the Māori Sports Awards, and huge impact on urban Auckland. She was one of the founding members of Waipareta Trust. Her legacy will be felt across the development of Tamaki Makaurau, even across Ngāti Whātua, and being able to progress a lot of our te reo claims, you know, because she was a te reo teacher at Rutherford High School. Nearly every child that went through that kura, and even that whole West Auckland, were impacted by either her personally or by those that she coached and she tutored, who then went on to coach and tutor even the moko mokopuna who we see today. She will be dearly, dearly missed by all of Tamaki Makaurau and her whānau.
I had some great interactions with her over the years, and despite all of her achievements and the status that she had, she was just a lovely, lovely person, a lovely lady, and heaps of humanity, eh?
Heaps of humanity, and you know, we talk about the glass ceiling. Man, she smashed it. She was the first Māori woman, and we're talking, what, 30 plus years ago, to be the captain of the New Zealand netball team.
I think it was about 60.
But the first Māori woman to be the captain of the New Zealand netball team. What I remember most about June, she had a quiet inner strength that she gave to others, and we think about the work that she did, and June Jackson, who also has departed us, sadly. What they've done is they've brought a sense of Māoriness, a sense of whanaungatanga, a sense of being to urban Māori, and that wasn't an easy task in the early days.
And a sense of, you know, matriarchal strength to Tamaki Makaurau urban Aucklanders, you know, that whole whaiatanga and kuiatanga of our whānau that came away from their haukainga. But make no mistake about it, she was tough, eh? You know, so, you know, if you talk rukahu to her, she'll let you know as well too.
Wahine Māori hoki, he wahine Māori hoki. All of our wahine Māori have that resilience within their leadership, and the toughness when they need to be, and the nurturing when they need to be nurturing. But ka tangita ngā kau ki tērā kahurangi o tātou tēnei ka wehe nei, nō reira. Rātou ki a rātou, ka hoki mai ki a tātou, te ao kiko nei. And Shane, you mentioned smashing glass ceilings. Well, Kahurangi Lisa Carrington last night won the K1 500, 3 gold medals. With Claudette said she's from another planet. I think that's probably right.
Oh, no, better than that. She's from the Eastern Bay of Plenty, you know. 3 gold medals at this Olympic, 8 gold medals in total. I heard her interview. She said this might not be her last. 8 gold medals from the Eastern Bay of Plenty. More than the entire Ngāpuhi nation, but who's counting? I think we should celebrate it. But you know what, also, Scotty, I would want to recognise someone who didn't win a gold medal, and that was Liza McCartney and her beautiful mihi she did. This is a Pākehā girl from Takapuna who enriches and loves and emboldens our language. And, you know, we have all the raru of 2024, but people like Liza give me so much hope.
Oh, so much hope. And what a beautiful mihi that was. And her reo was very good, very, very good. Tino pai rawatu. And thank you for...
let's not forget the rugby sevens.
Yes, the rugby sevens. That seems a long time ago now, doesn't it?
And our Portia Woodman, who is now going to retire from that, going to rugby league, so that'll be really great to see her play rugby league. But going back to Lisa Carrington, was really, she said that because when they came out of the blocks in the last race, she said that she was behind the second place getter by about a metre. She said that she was going to rely on her fitness to get her across the line. But when you see the shots of Lisa Carrington, the mechanism of her body from, you know, the torso upwards, really still from the down in the waka, but everybody else's waka was slightly, you know, jiggly, and just the swivel of her top shoulders, just amazing technique just power through the water, through the air and the wind. And so, yeah, I do believe she's otherworldly and she's an alien and they walk amongst us.
And she's level with other aliens, extraordinary people that we're talking about, because she's got the same amount of medals as Usain Bolt now, gold medals.
That's right, you know, and we had mums win gold medals in our sculls and our four, and I reckon the lesson to be learned is that we need to champion women's sports because they deliver the results. And you know the other thing about it? Not a dickhead in sight. You know, no scandal, no being on the booze, nothing, no doing something silly. Just
not like the Australian hockey player.
Just people doing the mahi and being humble as they do it and winning.
Minister Goldsmith stripping the reo out of their communication with the Australian MP who was supposed to come across for some Matariki celebrations. What does that signify in your opinion?
Well, a couple of things here. So first he's the Minister of Culture and Heritage, Culture and Arts and Culture. And so for a Minister of Arts and Culture to take away te reo from any communication, regardless of whether it be to an Australian MP or otherwise, is just reprehensible. And really people should call for his resignation because he undermined the reo, he undermined the value system of arts and culture, and he undermined te tiriti relationship of the Crown and Māori, and he just internationally embarrassed our nation. And then the Prime Minister doubled down on that embarrassment by saying in the House that you have to keep things simple for Australia, talk simply to them. So yeah, I think really in hindsight we should really think about the quality of our MP ministers, and in this respect, is he the minister that can champion Aotearoa New Zealand culture, art, history? I say no.
Yeah, the answer to that question is quite obvious, but one of his justifications was, it might be confusing to the Australians.
Well, didn't the best rebuttal come from the Australian MP who said, we know Aotearoa. we learnt about Aotearoa 40 years ago when Split Ends sung about it.
Well, they've stolen enough from it.
But when an Australian MP is calling you out for casual racism, we've got a problem, Aotearoa.
Well, this is an international embarrassment on a huge scale. I mean, we might have our little tips with the Australians, but at the moment the Australians are in our country actively recruiting our whānau to work for them in the police service, in the health industry, and we're just opening the doors to this, because if our ministers cannot value our individuals, our culture, tangata whenua, then why wouldn't our whānau leave and go and work for the Australians that will value them on a significant level?
Well, it's pretty difficult being a Māori in the home of Māori at the moment, isn't it? It's pretty difficult.
Yeah, it is, but I do have hope. We've spoken about Eliza. I had a whole group of teenagers yesterday, much better behaved, in our whare, much better behaved than we were in our day, that loved our reo. Then the young fellow walked in and said, kia ora matua. So I think there's a lot of great things going on. But look, I think that there is actually something more significant. I think this culture war that being facilitated by ACT and New Zealand First and enabled by the National Party is a real distraction. And for core inflation...
I mean, if you look at the Toitū hui in Napier this week, I mean, that goes to show that real New Zealanders are not listening to that race baiting, that negative rhetoric, in spite of the fact that we also had that advertisement from Hobson's Pledge. Now, we also have to look at the media here and their and how they're contributing to this race narrative. The Advertising Standards Authority means it has to be, non-oppressive, it has to be true, it has to be, balanced and fair, but more so that it has to be factual information. That Hobson's Pledge has been called out by a number of areas, including Pākehā lawyers, academics, as being false, and they are allowing this to be perpetuate across the media. So when it comes to real New Zealand, the ACT Party are not taking the pulse of real New Zealanders, Māori, non-Māori. Who they're pandering to is a significant part of their core voting base with pockets of money who are also behind Hobson's Pledge. That's who they're pandering to. everyday New Zealanders need to rise above this and say enough is enough. And the other thing about, is it safe to be Māori in Māori homes? That's the only safe place we are in Aotearoa, New Zealand, is in Māori homes.
You're absolutely correct about the Toitu Te Reo gathering in Heretaunga and Hastings over the last couple of days. I was there too, and so many non-Māori there, but so passionate about the culture and so passionate about the reo. Ngāpuhi were very passionate too, and they marched on Parliament this week. Shane, iwi leaders have come out swinging as well. Ngāpuhi turning up, laying down the challenge to the government about 7AA and Oranga Tamariki. What did you make about that? A good strong stance from Ngāpuhi. Should other iwi follow?
And they are, but very good strong from our largest iwi based on numbers. You know, we had a Royal Commission report that was sad and infuriating and angry, and every single one of those advocates said, don't do the boot camps. But this government went ahead with it. You know, this week alone, we found out that 3,000 more Māori are unemployed. It's likely to be another 6,000. We're going to have, I said it the week after the election, and people mocked me, we're going to have 12% unemployment amongst Māori. That means generational unemployment. And you know what, Scotty? The best way to recruit in gangs, the best way to increase our crime rate is having Māori that are long-term unemployed, that have no hope and no other place to turn to.
So the thing about this is around the mahi as well too, just going back to the increase in unemployment. So the government has stripped back some of the jobs, like Jobs for Nature, that employed a lot of our whānau, particularly rangatahi, in the rural areas where they worked in the ngāhere. It wasn't just around, you know, possum hunting, but it was around preservation, around conservation. Now that has been, the funding for that has come to an end, and they're not going to refund that. Now we're hoping that Shane Jones, the Minister of Regional Development, will kick in with other types of jobs that will replace Jobs for Nature. So we're all looking to see what he's going to do in that sector. But in terms of Ngāpuhi, 827 tamariki currently in care. 13,000 rangatahi Ngāpuhi descent whakapapa are in the justice pipeline, all the way to wharehere. So when Mane Tahere, the chair of Ngāpuhi, says, if the Crown does not stop, we will stop the Crown. Now what does that mean? It means court cases, litigation, all
and they needed to respond,
the
didn't they? Because that's how many of their people are in, as you said, the justice system. And unfortunately, ko pouta wā, because I really wanted you guys to get your teeth into te kaunihera arohe o te Kaipara, the Kaipara District Council's decision to get rid of Māori wards. But we'll leave that for our next korero, maybe. But e mihi ana kia kōrua, tēnā kōrua i a kōrua whakaaro, i o kōrua whakaaro i a kōrua kōrero i tēnei ata Shane. Te pou, Gloria Hauati, tēnā kōrua. Ka tia TV, that's Marae for this week. The team will be back with you next Sunday. Kia ora, hui hui mai, tātou katoa. Ko te reo, te take.